you feel like, whenever you encounter tribulation in this world, and just know, it's a normal thought to think, what the hell, man? What the hell, God? That's a normal thought. That's not irreverent. That doesn't upset God. God's not like, what's wrong with them? Don't they know I'm God? He would actually value that connection if that's what you felt in your heart. He wants to connect with you wherever you're at. And so if in your heart you think, what the hell, God? What the hell, man? He wants to connect with you there. Right? So that's a normal thought to have. But you want to understand that it's a lie. And that the reason why that thought could even come to you is because the carnal mind is in the earth. It's not even your own thought. Yeah. Right? It comes from the carnal mind. The only thought we would have is that we know we're created for life and not death. Every human knows that somewhere deep on the inside. Why do you guys think you get so upset when your parents won't let you do something you want to do? Why do you think you care so much? Why isn't it just like, who cares? I mean, it's a big deal when you can't do what you want to do, ain't it? Have you ever wondered, why is it such a big deal? Why do I care so much? Why is it not just like, oh, who cares? I'll go do something else then. I mean, it's like life or death, right? I mean, you want to throw yourself on the ground. Why? What are you? You just won't let me. I mean, let's just be honest, and we've all done it, so this isn't to pick on you guys. We were all your age too. We did the same thing. I did it worse than anyone. No one did it worse than me, right? But why? Why are we freaking out so bad? It's because in our hearts we know we were created for life, and we've determined that this thing we want to do will give us life. And now we see our parents is in the way of us having life. We know that if we could do this, that would be peace and joy and love and kindness and oh, glory to God. And they just won't let me do it. That's why you get upset with them. Right? And so you want to recognize that. Listen, guys, those things that you think can give you life, they can't actually give you life. It's not life or death. Let's just get it back into perspective. Right? Doesn't mean you don't want to do it. And it doesn't mean you can't say, hey, I want to do this, and have a conversation. But you don't have to live as if something can be stolen from you if you don't get to do it. Right? Have it in perspective. This thing I want to do can't give me life. Neither can it take life from me if I can't do it. There's only life found in God. Only God can give me the peace I long for. Only God can give me the satisfaction I want. This Snickers bar can't give me the satisfaction I want. This party that I want to go to can't give me the satisfaction that I want. This girl that I think shines like the sun, that if I could just get to that party, man, she'd be there. And if I don't get to the party, another dude's going to be there. And he's going to get her before me. What am I going to do? That girl can't give you the satisfaction you long for. Only God. Right? What that might do for you is it might give birth to a certain level of maturity in you, where you stop looking at things as life or death, and you start being able to think about things from the proper perspective. Your parents might have more peace in letting you do more that you want to do if they saw you thinking that way. Because they would see that you're reasoning from a strong foundation, instead of like, if they see you have a reaction like that, that does not make them feel good about changing their mind and letting you go. That further solidifies that they think you're functioning from the wrong platform. Right? And so recognize that, man, and understand that. But that's why we freak out. Right? Something in us says we were created for life and not death. The moment death comes, we're going to start reasoning about it. Why is it here? How did it get here? Who allowed it to be here? What did I do? What did God do? What did they do? See how you start twisting on it? You know what Jesus would come and say? None of that matters. But that the glory of God would be revealed. That the truth about God would be revealed. Yes. Where was the truth about God revealed? The resurrection. Mm-hmm. That's the only place you reason from when you encounter death. That's the only place you make your conclusions from about God. And whether God's there or not, or whether God left or not, or whether God punishing you or not, or whether God let this happen or not. The resurrection. What do you see there? Right? You see how God behaves. Yes. You see God's not the bringer of sin and death. But you see how God behaves towards man when he finds him in sin and death. Mm-hmm. And you see what God did to preserve your life from the destruction in the earth. Right? Yeah. And you start realizing he's here. He's not far from me. This world is dying. You guys realize that, right? Imagine there's a house burning down. and you guys are in that house. But you like the house, and you don't want to leave because you like it. But it's burning down. If you stay in the house, you're going to die anyway. And so this world, guys, does not have eternal life. This world is actively decaying and perishing. And so it's like we're fighting as if life is to stay here. Or as if life is found in this world. But this world is actively burning down. So when we think about salvation from death, we ought not look at it as based on what happens to us in this world or not. We ought to look at it based on what God did to deliver our lives from a burning house.
Right.
This house is burning down.
Right.
We're stuck in it. What's going to save us from a burning down house? Water, that's a good answer. It might put the fire out, but the house is burnt, man. Like the roof is falling. I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's caving in on you. And so you ain't going to be delivered that way.
Yeah, to be removed from the house.
To be removed from the house. Like the firemen, when they show up to the house, that is a good answer, though. I like that. You sound like me. When the fireman shows up to the house, they were here earlier. I know, I asked them. When the fireman shows up to the house, they don't think, well, the way we'll save the people in the house is just by spraying the house with water, we'll leave them in there. No. The first thing they do is get their asses out of the house. That's the first thing they do. And so when God thought of us being in a house that's burning down, He knew the only answer was to extract our life from the burning down house. He knew that was the only real salvation. And so He did that in Jesus. Right? And so that's what we want to think of when we encounter the death and we think we need salvation. When we're hurting, when we feel smacked in the face, when we feel left behind. How many of you ever felt left behind by God? Every human has. Every human has felt left behind by God. It's okay if you've had that thought, but you want to think through that with God and with the Holy Spirit. Right? Did God leave Jesus behind? Nope. Okay. So that means God hasn't left us behind. I still feel hurt. I still feel lost and lack. But I'm starting here knowing God hasn't left me behind. So we'll get that out of the way. Now we'll start feeling with the loss and the lack that I feel. And now I start communicating with God about that. Right? But the first step is to see in the resurrection, God didn't leave Jesus behind. So if the day I find the death in this world come to my house, it doesn't mean God's left me behind. Right? Okay, but I still hurt, Lord. And now you start talking with God. And now your heart is wide open to hearing about what God did to preserve your life from the destruction in this earth. And then you start finding something happen to you. When you need life, what do you think will make you feel better? Daddy, and more specifically, to hear how you have life. And so, if I'm busy dying, and there's a tree there that's called the tree of life, do you think I'm going to feel better if I go eat from that tree? Yeah, you're going to feel much better because you're going to get the life that you feel that you lack. And so when you realize God hasn't left you behind, and you start talking with God about the lack you feel, it's going and eating from the tree of life in the midst of the death in the world telling you lack. And then as you eat from that tree of life, you know what it does on the inside of you? The Lord is my shepherd, I do not lack. He maketh me to lie down in the tender green grass. He leadeth me beside the still waters of grace. He points me to His strength to conquer the death in my life and in this world. That made me to lie down in the tender green grass. Right? Why would a lamb lie down in the tender green grass? What that means is that the grass is soft and easily edible. And so it sat there and ate so much that it was so, because sheep they don't even know when they're full. They just keep eating. And so it ate so much, it was so full that it had to lie down there now. The only thing left to do was to take a siesta. Right? You guys know in Spain from like 2 to 6 every day, they just all go to sleep? Whether they're at work or school or whatever. That's it. We're going to take a siesta. And then they don't eat dinner till like 10 o'clock at night.
Right.
Because they sleep till like 6 and then they go back to work from like 6 to 9 or 10.
Yeah.
We're like,